Done by Noon podcast, episode number 6. Today we're going to talk about how to turn repetitive and recurring tasks into leverage routines.
You're listening to the Done by Noon podcast, a podcast for entrepreneurs who want to achieve more by noon than others in a full day. Serial entrepreneur Dave Ruel and his co-host Chris Lopez share the strategies that will help you optimize your productivity, performance, and lifestyle so you can reach new heights in your business and life. So if you're ready to become the most efficient and effective entrepreneur you know, you're in the right place. Welcome to the show.
This episode is brought to you by the Done by Noon book, the ultimate guide to achieve more by noon than other entrepreneurs in a full day. As a listener of the Done by Noon podcast, you can grab a free copy of the book at www.donebynoonpodcast.com/free book. But hurry, we've only printed a few thousand copies of this book, and when they are gone, they're gone. Once again, you can claim your free copy of the Done by Noon book at www.donebynoonpodcast.com/free book. Now, back to Dave and Chris.
Chris, this is Dave.
Hello, Dave. This is Chris.
Hi, Chris.
I'm
How you doing, my man?
fantastic. Fantastic with good internet again.
Woo-hoo! I hope it doesn't drop.
Yeah, I know. Me too.
It won't. It won't. I think the internet gods are with us.
Yeah.
Did you switch from a Russian satellite to an English satellite? Or
No, it's Israeli.
It's Israeli, right? Obviously. I was saying okay, well, maybe what would be reliable? Maybe like a New Zealand satellite, but it doesn't feel like New Zealand spies on people or do they have their own satellites? Maybe.
New Zealand? I would think that they would.
But how does that work? I don't even know. Honestly, I don't even know how the satellite system works. Is it let's say a bunch of countries get together and say, hey, let's put a bunch of satellites and share the resource and share signals and things like that, for telecommunication. I don't know. I have no idea how the system works.
No.
Maybe one of our listeners can
enlighten us on that.
Yeah. Please don't be a conspiracy theorist that thinks that satellites are put up there just to spy on us on the micro level. Don't be that guy.
Don't be that guy.
No. Dude, we're going to talk about routines today. So how to take, all repetitive tasks, recurring tasks, and turning them into powerful leveraged routine. Keyword here, leverage. I'm going to tell you why exactly in a moment. We talked about the power moves on episode 4 when we showed, the 2 types of tasks we focus on. We've covered the rocks already, right? So episode 5, last episode, turning your big goals into bite-sized daily actions. And now it's going to be your next power move, which is the routines. So I really when the question you asked, in episode 4, when you said, okay, I got this task, how do I know if it's a rock or how do I know if it's a routine, for example, right? And the answer that I gave you is make sure that it's something that keeps coming back in your business, but something that also mandatory for the good health, whether it's the good, operating health and the good financial health of your business, right? So that's what we're going to talk today. And then I'm going to start touching into optimization, really how you can optimize that. If you heard the ad for the Done by Noon book, if you don't have it, grab a free copy ASAP, because I explain in details. I give you even all the examples. And when you grab the book too, you get access to the free tools. So you have all the templates, so you can start actually document your routines, right? Chris, what are your routines? I'm going to tell you mine in a second, but what are your routines that you have on, let's say, on a daily basis, but also the ones you have on a weekly, monthly basis?
So on a daily basis, you know what? Honestly, a lot of my routines occur at the end of the day in terms of my business. My self-care routines are at the beginning of the day, but because they are routines for my business, I put them at the end of the day because they require less mind power, less willpower, less creative energy. So they're at the end of the day. So this goes one of the the foundational aspects of my business is making sure that I stay in touch with customers. And so I spend 30 minutes every day in my customer service inbox. And if there's anything personal that I feel need to be addressed, I mean, Andre is very good at addressing a lot of things, but sometimes there's only things that only I can do. And because customers are the lifeblood of my business, I spend 30 minutes, sometimes an hour. It depends on the day, but I will spend that much time getting that to inbox zero and trying to give as much personal response as I can. So that would be part of my daily routine. Another routine for me would be contact. So I always have a list of contacts or people that I need to contact every day. And you may notice, Dave, that you're on almost like a regular spreadsheet or like a regular routine for me to contact you.
I'm on the hit list. I feel like I'm on the hit list. Yep.
So that's one of my things. I allot 30 minutes every day to just contact friends, family, anybody, like a business contact that I haven't spoken to in a long time. And that's part of my routine. And then of course there's checking numbers, checking stats. I have that. I check my open rates. I check my Google Analytics. I check sales and compare sales, on a sales trends on a monthly and a yearly basis. So those are generally my business routines, and those are all done at the end of the day because they're routine. So I don't require as much mind power.
I like that you put them at the end of your day, and because if you know the Done by Noon framework, you know how I recommend juggling between the high energy task and the low energy task. So the ones that are going to require more juices and the ones that are going to take less. And usually what I do is I recommend to take the very important ones first, so you don't get, let's say, distracted by anything reactive or anything responsive in your business, right? But once you remember that these are chunks of time that you can move. They're focus boxes that you can take and actually apply whenever you want. The key here is that Chris applies them because he is highly optimized now. He takes his low effort box and puts it at the end of his day, which works perfectly as well. Like for me, I'm classic Done by Noon, the rocks first, then the routines, then I go into my to-dos, so my reactive task, my secondary task, and then I finish with my communication, right? So I finish with something that doesn't take me a lot of effort, just like everything's processed, and I have my communications at the end of the day. But you can take that other big box, and I really like that. That's actually something I might try soon, actually, to take that and batch that at the end of the day, and just you a lot, pretty much. That's a cool thing because I feel like it gives you a goal to optimize as much as possible the other things. So it gives you more time to do these type of routines. And let's say, especially when I'm the same, I have my contacts, I contact my affiliates, I contact my top customers, I contact my business friends as well. So because I can optimize before that gives me more time, and I know, okay, if I need to be finished by that time, I know every day I can work towards having more time to do more of that, which is going to be a definite power move in my business, right? So I like the fact that you took that box and moved that at the end of your day. Powerful, my friend.
Powerful. Yeah.
Cool. So the way, and we explained it a little bit in episode 4, is to look into all these tasks that you have right now and start identifying the tasks that are recurring in your business and start grouping them together. So, for example, if you've noticed that, hey, I spend so much time on social media, or I spend time on LinkedIn, I spend time on Facebook, I spend time on Instagram, is to look into the way where you can condense that into a routine daily. So, for example, I'm going to give you my example. What I do with social media is that, first of all, I made a conscious decision of using social media as a business tool and not an entertainment tool. So that's now amazing. It's clear that, because dude, we're all humans, right? I mean, it's so easy to fall in the rabbit hole where, hey, I'm just going to go on social media, make a post, and then you get distracted by, a cool cat video. And next thing you know, you fall in the rabbit hole of cat videos. And the cat videos, I feel like cat videos are so old school now. They're the first viral video. I don't know what would be the videos now anyway. But yeah, it's just like, it's so easy to get distracted. So for me to having a process where I'm okay, well, first of all, I have like a list of steps that I follow, for example, where I start that routine, which is 30 minutes. It happens daily, Monday to Friday, and it's a 7-step process. So I post on Instagram, and that is optimized as well, where I automate a lot of these things, where a lot of these things, for example, posting in Facebook, on Instagram, on LinkedIn, it's all done through Social Pilot. So it's a software that we use where you can upload. So actually, my assistant we have a calendar that we're very proactive. So we have a content calendar or posting calendar that we do, and she takes care of that. And she uploads that. So she doesn't need to be there physically pressing the buttons, uploading things like that. It's done automatically. It's leveraged because she needs to use less time, and it's posted automatically. So I used to do that myself, like post on Instagram, post on Facebook, post on LinkedIn, and doing that repetitively. But now it's all automated. So I can actually, took me, I was pretty much spending 30 minutes doing just that. Now I actually don't post. It doesn't take me any time. But what I do is I go on these posts and I look into, all what is being said on the content. I like different things. I reply to the comments. I share things. I'm able to do much more because everything it's optimized, right? So I do that. I share different articles on Facebook and on LinkedIn. What I do too is I try to be present with my community. So I go like different posts from different people that I find relevant, that I find informative, and that just shows that I'm there. You know what I mean? It doesn't need to be crazy. I just go, oh, I like this post, I'm just going to like it. So for people, they're just going to see my name. Hey, Dave Roll, like your post, right? You're just going to keep my presence alive on Facebook. This way, I can see to what's happening. I'm in loop with what's being done, how people actually interact. What's trending, things like that. So it's very important. And then, as I said, I comment to my post on my platform, and I reply to my DMs as well. So I have a specific amount of time, like 30 minutes every day, where I go through this list. But steps 1 to 4, for example, even the sharing, like we do proactive sharing, which is we're going to post an article from someone else, something we found relevant to our page, but it's all automated. Then I go the extra step 2, and I add another one when I see something. If I happen to see something that I like, I just go share it. So that makes sure that I have a good presence on social media without having to be there all the time watching, And steps 1 to 4 are actually automated, right? So it's great, it's because the way you got to look at it into leverage is to what we call the three S's of leverage, right?
Okay.
So what you need to do with the 3 S's is to look into your strengths. Okay. So basically, like it's pointless to do stuff that are not part of what we call your power zone. Okay. So think about what you do really well, better than other people. So for you, Chris, I would assume without hesitation that writing is one of your power, like within your power zone, if not your superpower, right?
Yeah. Well, and I also enjoy it a lot. But yes, I writing communication. Yeah.
Exactly.
I'm pretty good
at it. Nah, dude, definitely superpower, right? So it's all what we call the power zone. So those are the things that you do pretty much better than 95% of people. Okay. Right. So you have to look into your routines. You got to match your routines or to keep your routines that are in line with your power zone, with the things that you do better than most people. Okay. So this is the first way to get leverage. Okay. Because you do that better than most people. The second S of leverage is to structure your routines. So it's a good thing to say, okay, I'm going to take X amount of time daily to do this. Great. However, do you have specific steps to follow in order to do that? Right? So that's important to understand that, because if you don't have structure, you're just going to freelance it. You're just going to go, you're going to freestyle it. You're just going to go and say, okay, well, I got this time, but if you don't know exactly what steps you're going to take, how can you possibly optimize that if you don't know exactly what the structure is? Does it make sense, Chris?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. So and then the third S is systems. So obviously, once you have that, when you have that structure, is to implement the systems that are going to make you have more leverage. So, for example, one of the systems, for example, is our automation system that we have that automates the posting of the post. That saves me at least 30 minutes a day. And then I delegated actually the uploading into that platform to my assistant, Chloe. That's as simple as that. You know what I mean? So this is the way I want you to reframe, if you want, the way that you do your recurring tasks. Like, you have to do them. You have like these things coming. Don't freestyle it. Don't surf on the fact that, oh yeah, I know exactly how to do that. It's just natural. Okay, cool. But what happens when things grow in your business and you realize that, oh, I need to start delegating that, right? I need to start outsourcing that. If you
So
don't
Dave,
have
when it comes to posting, for example, is that something that do you do it every day, or do you batch that time and then Chloe posts it on a regularly scheduled thing? So do you do a bunch at once?
Yeah, so basically the way it does is that we have a database of content already established. So,
Perfect.
example, we have a database, for example, of articles that I like. The way I save them is I save them into an extension called Pocket. Mm-hmm. So every time I see like something cool, like, oh, that's a great article. And that's the thing, like, I'm not like, it doesn't matter who it's from. I'm not just sharing stuff that's my stuff. I share relevant stuff from other people. Like, I really like that article. I really like what this is saying. If you're on the broadcast, the FA broadcast, like, we share a bunch of articles that we like every week, that we share with you. So I save, actually, I go, when I come across one, I just save it into Pocket. So what Chloe does is that weekly she has her own routine where she goes through Pocket and she schedules the posting. So she writes a little one-liner, let's say, and posts that. And that say, okay, well, this link is going to go out on Wednesday. This one's going out on Thursday. So it's done already.
That's unbelievable. That's great.
Yeah, but that's an easy system. That's a simple system. And imagine if I would do it all myself. It's currently not in my power zone, man. I mean, I'm not that great at just following the small stuff and being consistent with all these small things. Usually I end up dropping the ball because I'm more, let's say, a vision guy, or I love building these type of systems or creating things. But when it comes to doing day-to-day stuff, and honestly, I think most of us are not that great at that.
No.
That's why it's so mandatory to create these systems. It doesn't need to be complicated. So we do that for the posting. Then a lot of the content that we put out is actually from the podcast. So we have the podcast. I have this podcast. I have another podcast in French. So we just take this podcast, and the process, but we extract, the audio. We do an audio card. We do a quote card. We have a link to actually the Done by Noon podcast blog, and we just share that through social media. So every week, same thing. Chloe goes, she writes down, like, she knows that Monday it's the release of the podcast. She's going to put a link in social media that goes towards towards the blog. Then on the next day, there's a video card. On the third day, there's a quote card. But she knows exactly what to do. She knows what to create because everything is being proactively done, right? When we record these podcasts, like, guys, it's not live. We record that weeks more than often in advance before we actually release them, right? So it's part of having a system that allows that to happen, where you're not always reacting and having, oh shit, Chris, we have to produce another podcast because there's one coming tomorrow. We don't have it. No, like, we always way ahead. You know what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean. Yep.
Dude, just little interlude now. There's two massive bald eagles flying just in front of my house.
Take a picture. We should put that in the show notes. Like, that would be...
No, he landed in the tree. They're two massive ones. Crazy. Like, I live just right on the river in New Brunswick, Canada. And there's always like bald eagles, like, around fishing. But these are two really super big ones. Holy smokes. That's funny because I'm facing the window and I see that. But anyway, you guys can't see it. Too bad. Do you guys have RP eagles in Costa Rica like they have in Panama?
Are
Like
those raptors?
No, they're huge eagles. They're the biggest eagles, I think, on the planet.
No, I've never seen one, but we must, because we're right on the Panamanian border. Like, we must have them. I wouldn't know what they look like. I've seen an owl with a wingspan of about 7 feet.
Yeah, they're nuts.
That
if you
was
look
pretty
at
scary.
Yeah, I know. There's some massive, massive animals. But you look at RP eagles, they're actually like, it looks like a man in an eagle costume. Scary.
Oh yeah, I think I've seen a picture of that before, but no, I'm not. I don't know if they have them here. Yeah.
Okay. They don't cross the border.
Yeah. They don't cross the border.
COVID.
They need a visa to get into Costa Rica.
They're quarantined.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. But yeah, so everything. See, like we've optimized obviously with these systems, but based on the fact, like when you look into leverage. So first of all, you keep what's within your strengths. At first, you might not be able to actually start optimizing because, like, if you, let's say you don't have enough money to do so, or you realize that your business is not big enough, or you don't have that many actually routines or processes built. That it's normal that you're going to keep some that are maybe a little bit outside of your power zone. It's normal, but the goal is always to come back to what you do well, right? And then once you know that, okay, well, maybe I'm spending 3 hours a day on routines, and I'd like to spend 1 hour a day. This is when you can look into what we call DOA, so delegating, outsourcing, and automating. But before you do that, before you systemize, it's very important that you establish the structure, as I said, like, okay, here are, let's say, the 5 steps of these routines. And from there, you can either delegate, outsource, or automate like the full routine if you can, or you do that, you DOA parts of it. So for example, with my social media routine, like steps 1 or 4 are automated, okay? And a lot of the pre-steps have been delegated, okay? So when I talk about delegations, like you actually have someone internally that you can delegate to. Outsourcing means that it's someone that you hire that is an outside resource, that someone that you hire, but it's not internal to your business. It could be an agency, it could be a freelancer, someone like that. Or when you automate, well, the software or tool, a SaaS, whatever you feel like. So we have the DOA map in the book. I invite you to check it out. This is pretty much a process on how we go about that. So every single time that we go and say, okay, or I go and say, okay, I don't want to keep this routine anymore. I feel like I don't have to do that anymore, thank God, because it's been done already. But the way, for example, for myself, where or for anyone that I would coach through that process, it's always to ask yourself, okay, well, as I said, is this procedure or is this process within my power zone? Is this something that I'm really good at? Okay. So if yes, always ask yourself, do I have time for it to keep it? And if not, ask yourself, can it be automated? Because you always want to see if it's possible to automate before actually delegating or outsourcing, right? So if the answer is yes, you can ask yourself, can it be done by human for less money at equal or superior quality? So my reasoning with that, I'm always going to privilege the human contact first, meaning that I want to have a personal human touch before I actually go through automating. Because the problem is that I see so many people, so many productivity gurus that are just like the push button type of guys. Oh yeah, you do that and it does that and it triggers this and it triggers that and you use Zapier and does this. That's not as simple. Okay, if you run a business that is especially high touch, where you have a smaller business, I mean, not everything can just be automated to the push of a button. Okay, or if it can, always try to see, okay, well, in my opinion, like automate if it may, and usually it does, but if it makes financial sense, do it. But if you can have it done by someone good,
yep,
do it. Like,
why not do it? Yeah,
why not do it? And obviously, it needs to be done at equal or superior quality. That's what I always say. If the person just is not as good, yeah, forget it. Like, try to automate. And especially nowadays, you have a lot more automation tools. But I always privilege the human touch in my business. I'm never going to be the type of guy, productivity guy, is just like, yeah, automate as much as you can. yeah, it's good to automate, but it's only one part of the process, right? Outsource. So if you need to outsource, create something like going. If it can be done, so ask yourself, yeah, if it can be done that. If so, if it can be done internally. If yes, you delegate internally. If not, you outsource. However, always create a procedure to show exactly the type of task that how to do that task. I think having a lack of procedures in your business as well is what's preventing you from actually having systems in your business, because you're not documenting the process the way you want it to look like, right?
Okay, so can we riff on that for a second? Like, so when you talk about procedures and stuff like that, like one of the things that I like to do, and I have a bunch of, we call them SOPs in my business, so standard operating procedures. What I like to do is I like to do a screencast and just basically go through an entire procedure on how to, say, schedule an email in my ConvertKit account, or how to, what lead magnets to post on YouTube and where to link to them and stuff like that. So what other tools, or do you use how do you train people to have these procedures, or how do you document your procedures for the people that you need to delegate it to?
So it's actually pretty simple, is that for every single process that we have, let's say we have a routine, we have a link. If there's a specific step that requires a specific procedure, there's a link to an SOP. So an SOP, it's a document that just documents the procedure or the way it's done. It's a how-to document, if you want. And so we do that. So actually, we've been using a simple Google spreadsheet with links to different Google Docs. It's a very basic way to do it. There's other softwares like Process Street or Suite Process where you can pay monthly to have your process documented, kept in a safe space. Right now, what we're doing is that we're actually merging into ClickUp. So all our SOPs are going into ClickUp because we can directly link internally within the system, because we use that for for storing our processes. So we have a board that shows all the daily, monthly, weekly, monthly processes, and we link each process to a person who does that. Could be me, could be Cedric, could be Chloe, could be Sophie, could be someone else. And they know exactly what to do. So once it's time to do this process, it shows up in their board, and they can move that box to the in progress column. And from there, move that process until it's done. And if they need, obviously, like after a while, they don't need a procedure, because they know exactly how to do that.
Right. They don't have to refer to it anymore. Yeah.
Exactly. But at first, it's going to take them a few weeks to get accustomed to it. And they're going to go through that procedure, that how to, for example, how to schedule social media posts in Social Pilot. Like if they haven't used it, I don't want to be spending X amount of time just showing them, hey, do this and do that. And like, no, I did it once. We've showed them, we've documented, it's there. You took screenshots. You do videos as well, Chris? Links to videos?
I do. Yeah. I do videos all the time. Yeah.
Yes, powerful. So you can just put the link to the video. Could be a Vimeo, could be a Vidyard, could be whatever. I mean, an unlisted YouTube video, and where you show, hey, here's exactly how I do that. And you can be as detailed as you want with that procedure. And from there, they know exactly how to do it. That's as simple as that. So the procedure is actually one step further than the process. The process is the outline, step 1, step 2, step 3. And then the procedure would be, okay, exactly how to do step 1, for example. That makes sense?
Very nice. Yep, 100%. No, that's great. What I wanted to do was just try to provide people with different ways of documenting and outlining processes.
Yeah, I think that's a main problem why people have a hard time delegating or outsourcing, is that they think that people will just get it. Yeah. So they're like, okay, well, I got this, do this. Okay, cool. And then they come back and say, well, this is not what I want. This is not what I want. Okay, well, what do you want? I want this, 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 and this. And they do it, they redo it. And they're like, well, yeah, this is not how you do it. They see they're never satisfied because they haven't outlined exactly the way they want it to look like, or they want this to be performed. So, I mean, do this extra step. It takes time. to do that. But
It
think
does.
about
It takes time, and it takes precision in terms of your communication skills as well. But that's all part and parcel of becoming a leader or being a leader and being able to lead a team is exactly that. Being very precise in your communication, being very specific, and not expecting something or not having certain expectations.
But if you don't voice your expectations, how can they possibly know?
Right. Exactly.
You know?
Yeah.
It's like in a marriage, right? If you don't voice your expectations to your spouse, how will she know? Or how he knows, you know what I mean? So it's the same thing. It's part of communication. We always say, marriage and communication is key. Well, guess what? Communication is key as well in business, especially if you want to have more leverage and if you want more freedom. So, and it starts there. So outline that. Obviously, it needs, you need to follow the steps. Like you need to understand your routines first. You need to start building the processes of these routines. And from there, you can identify the things that you want to delegate, you want to outsource, or maybe not automating, but what you want to delegate or outsource to other humans. You got to show them exactly how to do it. And creating an SOP, just a basic document, is the best way to do it, right? And that's the stepping stone. I mean, maybe you're not there right now, but if you're serious about growing a business or gaining more freedom, like you will need to get there. That's so, so, so important that you start practicing this. Starting building routines is the first, is going to be your initiation to go deeper. When you know how to do a routine, that's going to be a lot easier to build a procedure. It's going to be a lot easier to understand, okay, this is part of my workload. And each routine becomes a unit of workload. And you understand that if you have too much of them, well, it's time to optimize. It's time to delegate, outsource, or automate. But it's something, honestly, within my business and even in yours, Chris, that were the ultimate, I would say, I don't like to use the word game changers, but they were big advantages in our businesses where people are like, oh, how are you able to do all this in such a short amount of time? Or how are you able to do this and that? Honestly, boatloads of standardization. As simple as that. And then there's trust that there's good people that will help you doing that, help you take on the things that you don't do as well.
Yep.
Stay true to yourself, stay true to your strengths, but there are people that where you suck at, some people are actually great at that.
And that want to do it.
And they love to do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, a super easy example is customer support, right? I like to do I love to engage with my clients, but I can't do the basic customer support. I just don't have time for that, right? However, I want to keep connecting with my client, and you do too. Actually, that's another good example. Is that that's something you do well too? Is that you take time every week to just contact your top clients, right? But you realize that you do pretty much the same thing weekly. You have a process to do that, right? You have a process that you follow, and it's like, hey, this is how I can take in contact with my top customers weekly, right? So how do you go about that actually?
How do I go about contacting my top customers?
Yeah, like what's your process?
For me, all of my top customers are in a specific division of my membership site. So I make it a point, again, this is part of my routine, to spend 20 minutes every day in that membership site answering questions. I do a daily video with them. So that's how I stay in touch with them. And then similar to my contact, we have about 100 members there. And so what I do is I spend, like, I have 1 month every day. Sorry, I contact 2 or 3 of them every day to just check up on them and see how they're doing, so that they feel like they're getting personal attention from me. And that's just part of my routine and what I do. So it's worked really well for me because these guys, they pay a lot of money per year to be in a membership site. And so I want to make sure that they feel like they're taken care of and they get as much personal attention as possible. Like, they are the lifeblood of my business. And so they are part of my daily routine.
And they're your biggest investors too.
100%. Yeah.
Think about it. This is sales and marketing that you're doing, really. Hold on. Beyond the fact that you actually take care of your community and communicate with them. But when you do these things like that, which is technically unscalable. You're just empowering your biggest fans or your best customers to become your ambassadors.
That's right.
So don't take it as a task. Take it at, okay, yeah, but I'm killing two birds with one stone with this one. And because you're really great at communication, you have that factor that you need. You could hire someone to do like checkups and things like that, right? Wouldn't it have the same power?
No, not at all.
Absolutely not, right? So it's definitely a power move for you to keep. And definitely, I do that. I don't have a membership side, but the way I do it too is that on my end is that I have a list of the people. So I get my assistant to put in a spreadsheet the top customers for last week. So either the ones who spend actually quite a bit of money, or people that have been ordering for a third time, fourth time, like recurring customers. And I have a list, like there's a short list that she does. And from there, I just take their emails and just start an email, and I record a little video. So I really love that. I'm obsessed with this little like widget. It's actually an extension, Chrome extension. You just click and you can take a video from your laptop, and you're done. It gives you a link. You can put in the email. The person clicks on it. It opens up the video. And I hate writing. Like opposite to you, writing is actually not my power. It's actually it's my subpar zone. You have no idea how much like. I hope you appreciate the Done by Noon book because it was a tough experience. I'm not a natural writer. I'm not a natural author. I'm a systems builder, but holy smokes, man. And it took me a lot of time and effort. I am so grateful for the people who helped me actually write it, who were always correcting my spelling mistakes and my word, all the wordings and everything like that. I work with a fantastic woman called Emily Hill, who helped me out, like putting into nice words. So if it reads nicely, thanks to Emily. If it was just my words, it would have been, what the hell is he talking about? Thank God there's beautiful drawings and beautiful graphs there. But what I'm saying is that, it's I love communicating via video and voice. And I feel it's a lot more personalized in a way.
I think so too.
People love that. I mean, I would go, let's see, you would buy something like you would buy an annual plan, an annual pack of the planners for the third time. And like, I'm going to take like a video and say, hey, Chris, so you placed an order again this year for the planners. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. We value that. As usual, if there's anything you can do, you let me know, and let's keep in touch. And thanks again. And sometimes it's even people that I've talked to before, because maybe I sent them an email the last year and they replied, and then we've built that relationship. And maybe I know the name of their kids. You know what I mean? Like that's a fun part. That's for me. Like that's what's tough about owning like a smaller business. It's the ability to do this type of stuff. Yeah. And leveraging that, right? So there you go. I do that. I send them an email. I have a basic template that I use, and sometimes, like, let's say they don't have, like, there's something that I can give them. If they've been like, they don't have my book and they've been like ordering planners for 3 years, I'm going to send them a free copy of my book, for example. That's something that I would do. And what I do too is that I ask Cedric to follow up with them every 30 days after I send the email. So they're like, hey, by the way, like, just checking if you got like how things are going, make sure you're good. Do you have any questions? And sometimes they're going to be like, oh yeah, by the way, I was wondering, like, I have this going on. What do you think? Like, do you think, like, how should I go about this routine, for example? Like, they will ask questions like that. And when Cedric will help them and show them how to do it. And we can help or guide them through to a resource that we have that would explain that or show them how to do it. So it's a great way to build that community, that presence. And that
what's the name of that video extension? The Vidyard. Chrome video extension? It's Vidyard. Yeah, you told me about that. Yeah,
man. It's just, you click on it. It's fantastic. And it gets better. It just got better. They updated it. It's one of these great tools that I like, and that'll work way, way better for me than just writing. If I would just send a basic email, people would be like, damn, who is this guy? Leave me alone.
Yeah.
With your poor writing style. It's definitely not Chris Lopez sending this email. But yeah, so there you go. This is as simple as that. But however, building routines, building processes, procedures is a nonstop activity in your business. The more you're going to do that, the more you're going to be able to have leverage in your business, which is highly important. The more you're going to do that, the more you're going to be able to focus on what you do great. The more you're going to be able to focus on what you do great, the better your business is going to be. And the better your business is going to be, the more financial freedom you're going to have. That means you can have actually more, time freedom, and also spend time creating more what you like. So, it's a circle. Everything's interconnected, and you have to keep being disciplined into doing that. As simple as that.
Very good, sir.
Cool, my man. Yeah, that was more of a technical. I would say not technical, but if you have the book, you can follow through with that. But yeah, it was a little bit more technical. Next week we're actually going to talk about something a little bit lighter. We're going to talk about how to manage a thriving family and business at the same time. Because Chris, honestly, and I've told you that before, but you've been my biggest inspiration when it comes to life and work harmony with Roseanne. We need Roseanne on the podcast, man. By the way. No, but I told you, you know it. I've told you that already, like many times.
I know.
But if you don't know Chris, guys, go check him out, because he operates. I'm going to use this word deliberately, like that. You operate a fantastic family, like you and Roseanne. Like everything is so well orchestrated. Your kids are so well raised. You operate great businesses with your wife. It's truly, it's amazing. I got two, and if you have kids, you know how much it's a sport to raise kids. Chris has 5. Let that sink in.
Yeah, we do have 5. It gets a little crazy, and it's always a challenge. But the funny thing is, and we come to realize this, and maybe one day I'll tell you the story, but we had an instance here that we came to realize that we're very old fashioned in the sense that we believe in boundaries and we believe in structure, very much like running a business. Like for our philosophy with parenting is exactly the same. And so I think there was one episode that you and I were riffing on free range parenting.
Oh gosh. Yes.
Yeah,
exactly. Like that's the exact same example here. Like if you don't have guidelines, if you don't have processes or even procedures for different things, how do you want your kids to know how to operate? It's the exact same thing. See, like this is the exact same thing in your life and in your business. It just takes a different form, but it's the same it's the same principle.
Yeah. Yeah,
I remember Roseanne saying that, like where she was reading a productivity book, and she was like, "Yeah, like it's great, but I know this guy has no kids, but we have kids. But we're talking the same language because we have our own systems in place. Like she doesn't name them systems, but for him, it's like, yeah, I have my my system for my kid doesn't want to go to bed system, or I can't remember what she." Like the different examples that she used, but that's another thing with Roseanne. Her blog, like her writing is so good. I just love the way she writes. I've been I think one of her early readers of her blog.
Oh really? That's amazing. Yeah. I make sure I let her know. Yeah.
She knows. I've told her many times. It's like I just love her writing. She writes. It's so candid. It's so it's so her.
Well, it's Roseanne. We're talking about her writing. So sorry, it was just a riff on my wife really quickly, but she's published now. Well, she's coming out. She's been asked to publish a chapter in a textbook about homeschooling for a U.S. university, and so she had just submitted the final transcripts for that, and it's been approved. So she will be a published author and researcher now in the education realm.
Shut up, man. That's so awesome. She's doing so great with that. By the way, if you don't know Roseanne, RoseanneLopez.com, ROZANNE, or ROZANNE for American friends, Lopez.com. And it's you can actually see a beautiful picture of your family. It's fantastic. I love her writing. Follow Roseanne if you're a mom or dad. Great insights. Thanks, man. Cool. Yeah, dude, people need to know that. You guys been my best kept secret when it comes to family stuff.
Yeah, but it's an ongoing process, right? Like you're never done, so it's always constant evolution, and yeah. So it's one of those things. But I mean, I know you, and I haven't seen Charliana or Michaela lately, but I can see what's going on with you and Corinne, and you guys seem to be doing a fantastic job. So kudos to you,
best, man. We're doing our best. That's for sure. But it's what we apply in our business life. Our business life, and our family life are not that. It's very well integrated, right? Yeah. But it took obviously time, adjustments, building these routines, these processes, etc. So yeah, man, it's just a nonstop process. But yeah, we're going to cover that a little bit more next week. So we're going to say too much, but keep you guys salivating for next week. If you're a parent, you will want to hear that. All right, my man. Hey, great. You didn't drop this week. I think that's the best internet you ever had.
I think we found something.
We found gold.
Yep.
All right, my man. Have a great week. And I'll talk to you guys, everybody on next week.
Have a great week, guys.
See ya.
You have just listened to the Done by Noon podcast. If you are interested in hearing more, do not hesitate to subscribe to our channel. Click on the 5 stars or check out our free tools and trainings at donebynoonpodcast.com. Thanks again for listening and stay awesome. We'll see you next time.